The whole idea germinated from me reading an article in the New York Times, and I had been introduced to this character in print that I'd never heard of before. And then I reached out to him, and we were shooting 2 months later in France. So I didn't know actually what he would talk about. I also didn't know what he would remember. When we started interviewing him, he was 78 years old, and he started creating art when he was 3. So I wasn't sure what memories were retained and what had been lost. We kind of started to dig the knife into his side and, to touch areas that he hadn't talked about in many years. And he was reluctant to talk about only one thing, and that was mostly about his family. So I don't know if you got the sense when you were watching the film, we introduce his wife, but we don't give too much information about her and his family, and that's on purpose, on his purpose.
And that was really the one thing he didn't really want to talk about.
That's it. But the erotica, the children's books, the slaves, everything.
Everything was free game.
Yeah.
Going back to 3 years old, how did you have access to all his work? I mean, a lot of work that was dating back to his really formative years.
Totally, that's a great question. His mother had the foresight to save all of his artwork starting from when he was 3. So, and she saved it through the war. I mean, through Nazi occupation and all these things. And Tomi happens to be lucky. He's the first living artist in French history to have a museum dedicated to that artist while they're still alive.
Wow.
So we have access to tens of thousands of images that are pristine and well preserved in his museum in Strasbourg. Tomi was very concerned about how we animated his art. He wanted to come to Miami and sit in the edit room with us.
Really?
We were like, hell no, you are not coming near the edit. We guaranteed him that we wouldn't change his colors or the intent of his artwork, but that we would only bring his lines into motion. And those guys did an amazing job. Rick, Brandon, and a bunch of other guys who worked on the film and gals. And that's the one thing people always say. It's not the story, it's not the character, it's the animation. They absolutely love how we animate.
Really inspired. It's really inspired. The transition from Europe to America, that scene there. You'll be impressed.
Can I just say one thing on that? It's interesting you bring that up. We tried to do like a Lemony Snicket's kind of a thing. Yeah, that's what we tried to do. And we didn't come close to what they did, but I'm happy to hear that it left a mark on you. So.
Yeah, definitely. Is that something that he was aware of?
No, it's a good question.
Does he know Lemony Snicket?
He did not know Lemony Snicket. And it's the one part of the film that he hated because we created some of that art ourselves and it wasn't taken from his book. So.